Washington Commanders star wide receiver Terry McLaurin steps to the podium after the first day of training camp. Let's hear from the veteran as he's headed into his 6th year.
How I feel? Black. What I want?
I love the way she rockin' it. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she poppin' it, the shawty is a winner. You can tell that shawty's no beginner. She's confident. I love the way she move.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We another Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, I'm coming on here with a video where we're going to be reacting to Terry McLaurin's press conference after the first day of training camp. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload new videos like this to the channel. We're on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so we greatly appreciate if we can reach that goal as soon as possible. Alrighty, let's get straight to it. Terry McLaurin is headed into his 6th year. Isn't that crazy? Like, I remember when we first drafted him, 3rd round. I remember when he first had his first NFL touchdown versus the Eagles week 1, 2019. He should have had 2 touchdowns. Case Keenum overthrew him. And 6 years later, my man is still consistently being a 1,000-yard receiver with a million different quarterbacks. I'm hoping this is the year that he finally finds his partner in crime and he can take his game to the next level. I love Terry McLaurin, man, and it's always great to hear from him. Make sure y'all use that promo code JGTS on SeatGeek to get $20 off your first purchase. I'm telling you, it's one of the best promo codes out there, and it's going to save you some money. So go ahead and use that on SeatGeek. Let's go ahead, waste no more time, and hear from Captain Terry McLaurin.
To the next season, then you start from that point instead of, all right, we got to figure out how to do this again. So hopefully I'm looking forward to that, definitely.
Terry, you mentioned just working on the timing with Jaden. That's supposed to be a process. Today, you guys were focusing on the red zone.
Yeah.
Obviously, from a timing perspective, not a lot of space down there. That's got to be key. How do you build on that, specifically the red zone with a new quarterback?
Definitely. I think red zone is can be difficult for offenses sometimes because you don't have as much room to operate, and the defense has the back end line as another defender versus when you're kind of out by the opposite 40 or you have more field to work with. So the spacing and timing is even more paramount when you're in the red zone, and so that's why you have to really be detail oriented in where your splits are as receivers, tight ends, all skill positions, and the depths of your route. You don't want to be in someone else's space when you're running your route, and so him and I connected on a hitch route, which could kind of be tough, down in the red zone because, again, they have that backline defender. So some DBs are not even worried about you running that far, or they have enough makeup speed to get there. So my objective in that situation is try to make that DB feel my speed and kind of get a quick release. And I think what he talked about after that was really important, where even if that DB may be playing in your back hip, like, ball placement is very key in those situations. And I think he did a great job. You want to try to leave that ball either low and away or high on my outside shoulder, so I can, even if it's a bang bang play, I have a chance to get it, versus you leave the ball inside, then it could get a little muddy. So he just has a natural feel for that, and you can see it by the way he operates, but also by his actions as well. And it's not always going to be perfect, but just to have that mindset, I'm expecting that now. So when I come out my routes, I have a good idea where he's going to put it.
Terry, some of us have covered this organization for an awfully long time. You have been through a couple of different administrations.
Yeah.
Yes, Keim, you've been here 40 years. I get it. How different is the field, not just day one here, but through veteran mini camps? Because we kind of feel like there's a different vibe.
Yeah.
We've said it before, but the word's different, but for you, having experienced it, how different is it?
Definitely. I've experienced a lot in my going on 6 years here, and I could just at least speak to just this year, and I feel like the continuity from the top down is very clear what the objective is, bringing in good people who are really good at their job and are going to be competitors in what they do and bring their best selves to the building each and every day. I think that started from Mr. Harris and the ownership group, and I think that goes down to AP and DQ and our coordinators and the leaders on this team and our position coaches. So when you have that one voice, that one mission, I think it makes it very clear what the expectation is, and there's not a lot of deviation from that because if you want to be a part of this team and this organization, you have to fit that mold or you probably won't be here. But I think the great thing about it is there's no favoritism. There's no, well, because you did this here or because you had this season last year. Like, we got guys and coaches from all over the place, but one thing they have is we have a lot of guys with experience, leadership, championship pedigree, and who are competitors who want to come and make this organization better and win together. And I think you can feel that juice, and then when you have the opportunity just to come out here and compete, that's what you love to do. You don't have to really focus on a lot of the off-field stuff we may have had, but you get to focus on football and how you get better and try to earn your spot on this team. So it's been really fun getting to know the guys. Like I said a few times, like even the first few days in the spring, we really didn't even talk a lot of football. We just got to know each other, which is new. You know what I mean? We've even mixed up the locker room where I'm sitting next to Forbes and some of the linemen, and usually you stay with your position group, but I think it helps just that continuity process a little quicker when you have those moments to spend time with guys you may not spend time with otherwise because they're not in your position room. So I could just tell we have a group of guys that are gelling well and enjoy spending time with one another, and also like to grind. And we set standards before ourselves as a team where that's what you have to hold up to if you want to be a part of this team. And I think that's great because it holds everybody accountable. Then it's on myself and it's on the other guys to hold each other accountable and to that standard. As long as that doesn't deviate, then you have a good chance to have success.
As well in your position.
100%. I think I would like to think I've been blessed with a leadership skill set that sometimes I kind of shied away from when I was a little younger, whether I was in college or even high school, or even earlier in my career. I was just always a leader by example, which I think is great. I think, I just wanted to be somebody who was on time, who was accountable, did what I was supposed to do, and you could look at me as an example. Not that I'm perfect, but I just try to do things the right way. I try to be a pro. I try to set a good example for myself and my teammates. And as time has grown and you grow that respect, you have a little success. Guys want to hear from you more. And I never wanted to be the type of vocal leader where I was someone who was just like a dictator or tearing guys down or just telling them what to do. But I think it's just more so speaking to the accountability aspect where you see guys maybe necessarily not doing what we set out to do or the standards that we set. You kind of check them on that. But I think that the awareness that we all have is not coming from a place of anger or a place of frustration. It's coming from a place of accountability, and we've all had a pledge with one another. We're not going to take that personally. And so for myself, I just tried to put myself in situations where I speak up a little bit more. But even when I don't want to talk so much where it kind of just gets drowned out. I want to be someone where I say something, it's meaningful, it's impactful, and I think I've learned that happy middle, and I think it helps a lot when you have a lot of other leaders around, because I've learned from Zach, I've learned from Bobby Wagner, DQ sets a great example, and so you feel like that the weight of leadership doesn't fall all on you, but at the same time, I know what I bring to the table as a player and a leader, and I just try to set that standard. So, I really try to hold myself to a standard where not perfection, but on and off the field, I'm leading in a way that guys want to follow you. You know what I mean? And it's not just by your play, is how you communicate with them. I try to get to know the guys on the team, know about their families and things like that. So that's just that personal relationship goes a long way when it comes to leadership, because when you say something, they have more of a respect because they know where you're coming from.
Along the lines of that, as far as newness and energy and leadership, DQ, Adam Peters, everything is new for them. How important is it when they lean on you guys, you and Jonathan, as the veterans have been here, to kind of get together and kind of get on the same page? Well, as you mentioned, though, but not playing favoritism to anybody else.
I think we have just the experience of being in this area. I think we've really helped guys being able to, hey, you need a place to stay, you need a realtor, you need a bodywork person. Just that aspect of it where you're trying to get guys acclimated just to being in a new place. And I think John and I and Payne and a lot of other guys who've been here for a while, Tress and Revo, and we have we've had a lot of experience in this area, and honestly, we've had experience of some good and some bad. And I think the good thing about it is AP and DQ didn't really come in with really focus on what happened last year or the old regime. It was just, how do we move forward? How do we build an identity for this Commanders team? And they really allowed us to take the keys to the car and set standards for ourselves. Like, sure, there's expectations that they expect as a player and as a person, but whether it was through the team building activities that we had or just, writing a pledge as a team and letting the leaders run that. Like, it was literally our words, our sentiments, our accountability, and it's up to us to hold up to that standard. I think it's great that we have a group of guys with a lot of experience like that, and we know that it's going to pay dividends if we continue to hold ourselves accountable in that way. So it's been cool to, have a breath fresher air where, it just feels like a new start for everybody.
What was the pledge you guys wrote?
I'll probably try to keep most of it within our team, but it was essentially along the lines of just what we're going to commit each and every day when we come out to this football field. Not only what we're going to do on the field, but off the field. How we're going to prepare our bodies, how we're going to prepare our minds, how we're going to hold each other accountable when those things may slip. And I think one of the things that stands out the most is just, like I kind of touched on, is you can't take that personally. I think we're all competing for jobs, we're competing for respect, we're competing for some guys' contracts. So everybody has an individual aspect to it. But when you bring the team, you put the team first and you put it in writing, it forces you to be accountable, honestly, because it's like, well, I agreed to that. I may have signed that, or I was part of putting those words together. So if I'm not out there upholding, whether it's finishing, whether it's taking care of my body, being accountable, like how can I expect our rookies to? And so I think that puts a good amount of accountability and pressure on our leaders, but also it forces the young guys and the guys who may, be here for a year, whatever. It's just, there's one voice and one sound that the team came up with outside of the expectation of the coaches or the organization, which I think is extremely powerful. I haven't really experienced anything necessarily like that, where the guys have come up with something like that. And it was just really cool to see everybody's ideas and how they view leadership, how they view team building, and what's important to having success. And obviously we know that doesn't mean anything if we don't live up to those standards, which that's part of the pledge, but also the wins and losses are a big part of that as well. And but I think that's obviously the big picture, the wins and the losses. That's why we're all here, to win. But there's things underneath winning and losing that contribute to winning and losing, if that makes sense. And I feel like there's a very, very clear set of standards that we've put forward.
When the quarterbacks split first team reps, does that affect a receiver's ability to build a rapport?
I don't really think so. And I guess I'm unique in that way because I play with multiple guys. So I've been able to, adapt. And I think it just forces everybody to communicate a little bit more. Marcus may see something different than Jaden, something different than Sam, something different than Jeff. And I think the main aspect is we come out here knowing what we're doing, executing Cliff's offense, executing the depths, executing the timing and the spacing of each concept. And I think as long as guys come out here prepared, studying when we're not in the building and taking notes while we're in the film room, just naturally you're going to have a standard of what it's supposed to look like. But then the nuances of offense and football, like there's going to be a little difference in what each quarterback does. And I think that's where the communication comes in. But Marcus has been around for a very long time. He's won games. He did great in college. So he just has a natural maturity and feel about football that brings a calm to our offense that I think is extremely needed. And, Jaden, with his just natural ability, and not only that, his work ethic is very strong. And he wants to be great, and not only that, he's very personable and he wants the guys around him to have fun. So you got a good mix of a quarterback room where there's no ego. Guys are competing, they want to put their best foot forward, but they're all trying to make plays and do what's best for the team. It's been really fun working with everybody, and I know we're going to continue to build on the things that we've done so far.
Thanks, Terry.
No problem.
And as we know, it's always great to hear from the captain, Terry McLaurin. I loved hearing from Terry because he does exactly what he did today, and that's give us what we want to hear, like a lot of well thought out answers to the media's questions. Two things specifically stood out to me, though, was when he talked about how there's no favoritism in this regime. That got me thinking back to last regime and thinking about how last year specifically played out and trying to think, were there any favorites? Did Eric Bieniemy have any favorites? Did we see anybody's that he catered to more than others? Like, there were potentially favorites, and that's probably why a lot of people's productions, like Brian Robinson, Terry McLaurin, and Jahan Dodson, they were not utilized how they should have been because they were favoritisms. Also, he talked about having a pledge, right? That's very cool to hear, something that they honored and commit. I wonder if they're going to be saying it every day, like the Soldier's Creed. I wonder if that's something that they're going to be saying every day that they commit to, right? That's very interesting. But Always great to hear from Terry McLaurin. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Again, make sure you use promo code JGTS on SeatGeek to get $20 off your first purchase. Love each and every one of y'all. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe. Training camp videos are going to be dropping. So make sure you have post notifications on. You have a blessed one. Stay safe. Love y'all. Peace.